Hey guys, I'm Blue, and today we have 20 minutes of chair yoga for full body release. Now, this was inspired by one of my much appreciated Tier 3 Patreons, Anne, who has come down the stairs and twisted her ankle. So I hope this helps. I wish you a speedy recovery, Anne, and let's get straight into it. Okay, so first things first, make sure your chair is at a comfortable height. So try to lower yourself down until your thighs are parallel to the floor and your feet are just comfortably resting on the floor there. You can nicely connect with the ground. And then highly recommended that you sit forward about halfway along the seat cushion of your chair here. And this is going to help you to sort of move around a little bit, and it's going to help you to keep an upright posture, because when we're resting on the backrest, it's very tempting to start to sort of sink into it. So with your tailbone about halfway along the cushion of your chair, we will get started. Make sure your shins are on a nice 90-degree angle to your thighs here. And then just start to find a nice upright positioning. So slightly tilting the pelvis forward and lengthening the spine. Imagine you're trying to press the crown of your head towards the ceiling here. And we're going to do these upright sort of seated pelvic tilts. We're going to open the chest and lengthen the spine a little bit. So what we might do is roll the shoulders back and press the chest forward. It's a bit like a cat-cow movement, seated. And you can even assist yourself here by gently wrapping the fingers around the knees and drawing the elbows in towards the ribs. It's sort of going to help you open the chest up here. Take a breath in, expand upwards, and then as you exhale, arch the back. And this is where it's really handy to have a little bit of space between you and the backrest as well. And don't crunch downwards. Sort of visualize and picture yourself expanding backwards or expanding into the back of your body. And then inhale, using the arms, if you like, wrapping the elbows in and lifting the chest. And exhale. We'll do a couple of these. Inhale. Feel the pelvis rock forward and back. So your pubic bone will be pointing down towards the seat cushion now. If you need to separate the knees a little bit more to allow that to happen, that's fine. And then exhale, arching. Inhaling. And exhaling. Really extend through the fingertips here, let the shoulder blades separate away from the body. We'll do one more of those. Inhale. And exhaling. And then we'll come back up to a nice neutral position. So somewhere in between that sort of full rotation we were just doing. Find a nice upright positioning here. There's a slight forward tilt in the pelvis. And there's length in the back of the neck here, like you're trying to touch your head towards the ceiling. From here, we might just bring the hands down by the sides of the hips, or the sides of the seat cushion there. And then I'm going to flip the right palm and reach up. And I'm just going to expand out over the side body here. So I'm going to soften the elbow a little bit. And I'm actually sort of, more than reaching through the fingertips, reaching through the right elbow, which is going to give me that lift in the side body. And this left arm is just dangling, or you can press it gently into the hip or the seat cushion here. Give yourself a couple of breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And it might even be tempting to fall into the lower back a little bit here, so you might even need to draw the ribs in towards the midline a touch. You'll actually feel it in the abdominals a little bit, which is really good. Inhale. And exhale. I'll lower this right hand back down. Let's have a go on the other side. Flip that left palm. Reach up. And we're keeping this upright posture, softening the elbow just a little bit, and then reaching through the elbow, which it stops us sort of crunching in towards our ear. And it also helps create that length out over the side body. And we're stabilizing by just sort of resting the right arm next to our right body. This will give us a nice sort of reference for our posture as well. Staying long in the neck. Let's give it a couple of breaths. Inhale. Exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Last one, inhale, exhale. Flip that left palm and bring it all the way down. Now, maintaining this nice upright posture, we're just going to make sure we're drawing the chin in towards the throat to create extra length in the neck and to expand out over the muscles, out over the back of the neck here. We're going to rock the right ear towards the right shoulder. Now, I'm not doing too much with my arms here. They're just sort of dangling, feeling the weight fall down through the fingertips. And then coming back up and lowering down to the left-hand side. And once again, this is a real passive movement. We're not worried too much about how much stretching we're getting or how far we're getting our ear towards our shoulder or anything like that. We're looking for release here. And we'll do a couple of those. Take your time. If you want to sort of time it with breath, you can. It's nice to take a nice long exhale as the right ear comes down to the right shoulder, or the ear comes down to the shoulder in general. Lower the left ear down. Nice. Then we'll come back up. We might take a little variation of that. We might bring the hands to the bottom of the seat cushion here. Wing the elbows out to the side. And then with this we're putting pressure into the palms or into the fingertips. So we're going to counter that by lifting again through the chest, through the spine, through the back of the neck and the crown. Then try to press your elbows away from your body. And now lower the right ear towards the right shoulder. And that's going to intensify a little bit. You might even feel it in the back of the spine or the back of the body and the trapezius a bit as well. That's nice. And we can play around with that a little bit. Cool. And then there's another variation to this that we can actually extend the arms out to the side. And on sort of like a 45-degree angle to the shoulders, I suppose. And this will probably intensify even more. But we want to be careful when we're playing around with stretching muscles out around the neck. There's loads of nerve endings there and stuff. We don't want to push anything. So you can play with either variation. You can even play with sort of the angle that your arms are on. And you might get this nice, lovely nerve stretch down over into the fingertips when you extend the arms as well. So play around with that. And a few of those, taking deep breaths. And then we're going to come back up to a neutral position with the crown of the head here. And now, the next movement, we're going to wrap our hands around behind the thigh there, just behind the knee. And bring the knee up in towards the lower ribs and just give it a gentle squeeze. Lift your ribs towards the knee. Take a few moments here. We just want to extend out over the lower back and stretch this glute out a little bit. Just release any tension in the hips. And then we can do two things here. We can actually extend the leg out in front of us and flex back on the toes. That's quite nice, and you can play around with sort of how far you extend the leg. I'm not looking to stretch the hamstring out or do anything crazy like that. We're just looking to sort of free up any tension that might be sort of occurring in the legs here. So we'll just be rotating the foot around, maybe flexing into the toes, maybe drawing back on the toes. Just get creative with that movement there. There's no rules. And a few of those, and then we'll lower back down. Let's have a go on the other side. Now you can bring the knee in with the hands wrapped around the shin, but for the sake of the following movement, we'll bring the hands in under the back of the knee there. Now try not to curl in, and if you feel yourself rest on the seat cushion, you may have lost your upright posture. So we'll lift the ribs up nice and high and extend the leg out here. And then just taking some intuitive movement. If you want, you could even just flex back on the toes. If you really feel like you need it in the back of the calf muscle there. We could just do that and point the toe. You can really extend into it. You can keep the knee bent. If your lower back is a little bit more tender, you could even just have the heel on the ground and be flexing back on the toes as well. So make it yours. Play around with it a little bit. Just look for any sort of movement that might be clunky or resistant and sort of scrub that out. And that's about enough. We'll lower that left foot back down. Now, let's heel toe the feet out a little bit wider than the hips here. Let's make it so the knees are slightly wider than your shoulders. That's a good place to start. And definitely handy to be sitting halfway along the seat cushion of your chair here, because we're going to take a deep breath in. And we're going to just slide the hands down in between the knees, and we're going to tip forward here. And this is such a nice pose. If you've been sitting in a seat all day, or just in general, it's just really nice to do. Because of the way we are sort of situated on the chair, without any effort at all, we can really just allow ourselves to spill in and extend the spine here. And your hands can be wherever you like. You can reach them back underneath you. Don't worry too much about posture or anatomy or anything, because the chair's holding up all of the weight. Take a few breaths here and let the back of the neck soften. Really allow yourself to melt in. Let the spine lengthen and let the shoulder blades kind of separate away from the spine. But really feel that lovely length in here at the back of the neck. Feel the weight of the head sort of lengthening the spine. Giving yourself a couple of breaths here. Breathe into the outer ribs and feel them sort of press into the sides of your thighs here. Or the inner edges of your thighs, should I say. And if you want, you can bring the feet out a little bit wider and you can play around with it if you like. You can reach the hands right out in front of you, which will then give you actually a really nice opening out over the side body, out over the lats and the triceps and stuff like that. Let's take a couple more breaths here. Exhale. Inhaling. Exhale. And we'll gently come back up. You might bring one hand to one knee and then lift yourself back up. And move slowly, because we have really lowered ourselves down. Our head was way below our heart then, so as you lift yourself back up, you might feel a little bit dizzy, so be careful not to throw yourself around too much. Now for the next movement, we'll bring the knees back in line with the hips here. And we're just going to take a little bit of a twist. So what we'll do is we will reach the hands up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach the right hand forward and the left hand back. Now what's going to happen here is you're probably going to want to fall out to the side, into the blade, into the arch of the feet. But let's try to keep the knees sort of stable here. Try to keep equal weight through the soles of both feet. I might need to shift myself forward a little bit there. Then we'll come back up. And exhale, coming over to the other side. Once again, countering that by sort of equalizing the weight in the feet here. Reach out through both fingertips. Then inhale, come back up. And exhale. And reaching through the fingertips. Now I've found a wall there, so I might just come forward a little bit. Inhale, coming back up. And exhaling. Press the knees forward in line with those fingertips on the left hand. Reach back through the right fingertips. One more on each side. And if you have any shoulder restrictions or movements restrictions in your shoulders, you can just reach the elbows out and that's fine. You would use the inhale and you would just reach out like this. Sorry, if you're restricted for space too. If you're sitting in an office and don't want to clip anyone in the ear. And then we might just come back to a neutral position. Now, final movement, nice big hip opening. So we'll bring the right foot up to the left knee. And I like to kind of let the blade of this foot determine where the foot's going to sit. So it's not the ankle coming over the knee so much. There's kind of this spot here where the blade of the foot will wrap around the outside of the thigh there. That's a nice place to start. And if it's not working for you, you can actually put the foot out a little bit further or rest the heel on the outer edge of the knee or the outer edge of the thigh, and that's fine as well. So whatever works for you. I find having the blade on the edge of the leg actually sort of cues me nicely to keep the toes flexing back and protect the chin. So it's up to you. Either way, we're going to start to fold forward. And you might have your hands on your knees. You might be drawing yourself in, sort of looking for something to draw your chest in. Try not to arch the back, because that'll take away from the opening. Try to stay long in the spine and bring the ribs down to the thighs here. Dorsiflexing back on this right toe, which helps protect the knee joint. Give yourself a good few of those. It's always good to take your time in these sort of big opening, big hip opening postures where we're working into big muscles. It's always good to give them plenty of time to do their thing, to release, and take deep breaths and remind your body to relax and release and surrender in to the movement, surrender into the stretch. So a couple more breaths. And then coming back up. And we'll swap sides. Once again, play around with whatever alignment works best for you. If the blade of the foot feels fine, and that's cool. Otherwise, the ankle's just on the outside of the knee there. Now, always being mindful of the asymmetries of our body. This hip for me is always a little bit more resistant. So I'm not trying to force myself to recreate the same posture on both sides. I'm giving my left hip ample amount of opening there and never drawing myself so far into a stretch that it's agony. We just want to be about 60-70% into the stretch. We don't want the body, the nervous system to sort of associate these moves with danger or harm. Once again, you can look for something to draw yourself in with, keeping length in the spine. Most likely your upper body weight will allow you to will give you an ample stretch there anyway. Taking a deep breath in. And a long exhale, take your time. Remember, we're signaling the body that we're okay. We're not overstretching. We're just accepting. We're just surrendering. Now, for a little bit of a phase change there. After about 10 seconds, you'll find your muscles often will start to release. They'll start to shift around a little bit and give way, which is really nice. I love looking for that moment. We'll take a deep breath in. Last one. And then we might just lift ourselves back up, being mindful of the lower back here. Bring the feet back down to the ground, and let's just start to rock the weight from side to side here. Or rock the knees from side to side. And you can separate the feet out as far as you like and make it work for you, make it work for your body. Maybe the feet are right in close. And then bring yourself back into a neutral position. And that'll be all for today. We'll bring hands to heart center. Take a deep breath in. Namaste.